Mobile
Dang, I don't care what that fucking bitch McVie has to say, because he wants too. His yeah, just mostly what I was crazy. Fucking bad employees. Yeah, bad employees, you know, they even not fucking staying. No, you know, that's you people, not me. You know.
Show that's real. This is the Brian Lee Show. Hey, we are back. Full rack of calls, so let's get to it. Brian's over in Florida. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, how's it going? Let's just change the subject a little bit. What if the states get on the ballot for change what the representatives actually are allowed to do, not to do, how they can be recalled and so forth? You follow me?
States can pick their senators and governors?
No, how they represent us. Like if they're saying, like, okay, the lobbyists, you're not allowed to discuss anything with lobbyists.
I know.
You're not allowed to take money from the lobbyists.
I know. It really bothers me that you see all these companies get influenced because they have money and they pay off politicians. Politicians need money to run, so they have to go out and go to these fundraisers. Fundraisers want them to do.
Exactly. Eliminate the money, though, that comes from these people. You name me one lobbyist that's actually going to pay a politician to do something for the people.
No, they're going to do something. The lobby to represent that company.
Right.
So
So eliminate it at the state level.
Yeah, and I would love to have the election season shortened. This is going to go on for 2 years. Money you need to run for 2 years?
Yeah. Eliminate the special interest money, and we can get back to having a fair election that's going to represent the people.
I agree. John, listening on KDWN over in Las Vegas. John.
I want to say happy birthday to Alan West. What a great guy. Second thing, Mark Milley was in bed with China as a Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman. He was birding Trump. So why do we have faith that?
What do you mean by because he called up the Chinese leader and said we're not going to bomb you or something like that?
Oh yeah, exactly. So why do we think that that's not going on right now under the Biden administration? And they didn't blow this thing up before it crossed the United States. If you look when that thing is, there's a secondary explosion, whether it's command detonated or self-destruct. If that was to go off over the United States, legally that's a different issue. So I think doing it over the ocean, first of all, gives them some. I think it's a lot harder to recover that stuff. They could have used an A-10.
John, I appreciate you doing another read, but this is what bothers me. Don't tell me it's not a threat. At the same time, say we had to blow it up over the ocean because we might have explosive devices on it. You got to pick one, don't you think?
When I got my first real apartment, I decided to invest in a good mattress. No futons for me. Sleep World had lots of quality options I could afford, which is great because I use it for everything. Desk, dining table, sofa. I'd call that a good investment. Sleep free for 3 at the Fancy Me Sleep Day sale. Enjoy interest-free financing for 36 months on select premium mattresses and sets. Or take home our luxurious Serta Perfect Sleeper Queen mattress for only $6.99. Visit sleepworld.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. A baby girl born underneath earthquake rubble in Syria is pulled out alive. Her mother died after giving birth trapped in her collapsed home. Over 5,000 people are dead, more than 20,000 injured in yesterday's earthquake. American search and rescue teams were sent to help.
The teams are two urban search and rescue units based in California and Virginia, and are the only ones in the U.S. that work internationally. The teams have been sent in the past to deal with earthquakes in Japan, Mexico, and Nepal.
Brian Schmelz. Guests were announced to join First Lady Jill Biden. I do need a dress.
An Austin woman who nearly died when she couldn't get a necessary abortion. Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S., parents of Tyree Nichols, who died after being beaten by police in Memphis, musician Bono, and the man who wrestled the gun away from the Monterey Park, California.
The other day, I bought a cockatoo. He's a handful, but I'll manage, just like I manage without home internet. Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes shows unbearable, but I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
It's mating season.
No home internet? It's not that bad.
Don't settle. Get Xfinity Home Internet for just $19.99 a month with a free streaming box. Call, click, or visit the store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires paperless billing and auto-pay. Stored bank account. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Offer ends 2/21/23.
The simple way to start this new year is one for your dog. Every day, more dog people and more vets are quitting the kibble, kicking the cans, and feeding their dogs dog food that's actually, well, food. The Farmer's Dog is developed with vets, made fresh from real meat and veggies, portioned for your dog and delivered right to your door. Get 50% off your first box of smarter, healthier pet food at thefarmersdog.com/freshstart. That's thefarmersdog.com/freshstart.
No H2O is the leading wireless mobile auto detailer in the Bay Area, offering a full range of detailing services. No H2O comes to your home, business, or is most convenient for you and gives your car a great wash with no water. No H2O auto detailing is ultra convenient and gets great scratch-free results for your car. And remember, no water is used. Call Brian today at 925-238-8182, 925-238-8182, or NoH2OWalnutCreek.com. The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, workers' compensation attorneys at Boston Person can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. Injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law. Call Boston Person at 510-345-2344 or visit BoxerLaw.com for free consultation. Boston Person, your law is worth the fight.
You know me, you know. Right? I spend my time living life, whether it's this show or some I just keep it up on my channel. There's stuff to do, and that means drug-free relief factor years ago that absolutely changed everything for me. And there's nothing quite as satisfying as hearing from people who have the same experience. How about you? You got trouble doing all the things you want to do in your everyday life because pain is dragging you down? You feel like you have more energy to do the things you love? If you weren't constantly having to devote that energy to dealing with pain, maybe it's time for change. Hundreds of thousands of others have tried it. 70% have gone on to order more. Your first step to becoming pain-free just might be to order. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to hear more about this offer. Feel the difference.
The other day, I bought a cockatoo. Handful, but I'll manage, just like I manage without home internet. Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes unbearable, but I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
It's mating season.
No home internet? It's not that bad.
Don't settle. Get Xfinity Home Internet for $19.99 a month for 1 year with a free streaming box. Call, click, or visit the store today. Restrictions. Paperless billing and auto-pay. Stored bank account. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Offer ends 2/21/23.
Radio show like no other. It's Brian Kilmeade.
What I can tell you is that they have recovered some remnants off the surface of the sea, and weather conditions did not permit much undersea surveillance of the debris field yesterday. They think the debris field is about 15 football fields by 15 football fields square, so it's sizable.
Well, yeah, it's huge. It's really big. It's 2,000 feet long, so I think it's pretty big. 1,000 pounds. And they felt bold enough to give it a slow speed chase, OJ style, across our country to only blow it up in the water. By the way, not easy, I understand, for the
what's on your mind?
Hey, I got a quick question. I'm just thinking, and you covered this as well as I. You know, sheeping and food, they virtually met again in December. Do you think it's possible, and I'm just picking your brain, not a conspiracy theorist or anything, do you think it's possible coordinated from the standpoint of tying America's resources even more and more by Ukraine, and at the same time, coincidentally, testing our country in terms of sending that balloon across our nation lines?
Sure. And one thing is just coordinate in that they were trying to court us for about 8 weeks. Let's things get what I did. And they didn't do everything they can do for the Russians. So we know they're buying the Russian oil. We know they're providing high-tech equipment and relief and parts to Russia. They're being very cautious. So we started to think as a country, wow, these guys really are getting worried, from the chips bill to the fact that we're opening up a base in Guam, a base over in the... They're looking at, and all of a sudden, in comes this balloon. So I'm open. I'm open to anything, including the military might be acting separate from their version of their diplomatic department, their version of the State Department. But I think that the Chinese, one thing that they're seeing that the Russians are getting bogged down. They're seeing how isolated they've become. And they're saying, do we really want to go through this? Is Taiwan really worth this? That's pretty true. The other thing is, they say, I was emptying their sheds and giving all these guys weapons. I love the fact that the U.S. has got to do a massive replenishing run. So there's pluses and minuses to both. I don't know if there's an absolute overall strategy, but I was trying to come up with one here, because you can't go wrong. Mike was on WABC. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Brian.
Greg, what's on your mind?
Well, I had a question. Maybe you could help me with this conundrum. So all weekend we had to listen to the Pentagon, all the liberal stations talking about how this balloon was no imminent threat. It was no threat.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So my question to you is, why shoot it down at all? Once it left the United States, if it was no imminent threat, while it was flying over the country, why bother shooting it down at all? Why not let it just float back to the U.S. nation?
Well, they haven't told us why they believe that China was unable to get anything transmitted from that balloon. Number two, they don't know if that thing is what they got already before it got here. Number two is it violated our airspace. It's in between space and air travel, so we couldn't let it go past. I'm with you. They're all over the place on this. 1 minute it's not a threat. The next minute they say shoot it down right away. The next minute they say, well, it was fine. It was disabled. We want to let it out over the country. And then they say we couldn't blow it up over the country. We didn't know it was capable inside of it. And now we understand the belief is it has self-destructive advice. The other thing to keep in mind is this thing went across every military base, including across Virginia Beach. WNIS listeners know all about that. We know South Carolina is just littered with military personnel. And we started in Montana, where we got 520 missile silos. It's where we keep our nuclear assets. It's insane. Dennis, listen to Virginia Beach.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Good, what's on your mind?
I got a quick question for you. I love your show. Do you think they will ever tell us what they actually find from the balloon in the ocean right now when they collect the evidence?
If it's something that'll help them politically, sure. I think they will. We were able to take this down and neutralize it. I think we'll get to a degree, but they don't want to tell us anything unless we find out about it. It seems like you got to go find out about it, then they go ahead and explain it. So I'm very curious. I mean, all of a sudden they just say, yeah, same thing happened to Trump. And then we look at the situation, they realize nobody in the Trump administration is backing that up, so they quickly say, what happened during the Donald Trump years? But we didn't have the capability of detecting it. Really? We can't pick up balloons now? So they're not as transparent until you find them. I don't think we ever would find about the balloon period if it wasn't so visible in the big sky country. So I hope we find out to a degree what it
say it's a surveillance balloon. I'd like to know what we're going to do with the South American balloon. It's coming up through South America, Central America. Are we going to let it come in through New Mexico or Texas? We're just going to let it float by and then wait for it to get over water again? That's a good question. I just asked myself. James, this is on WDBO in Orlando. Hey, James.
Hey, I just wanted to throw out my conspiracy. During World War II, Japan sent thousands of these things over the United States to try to burn us down with incendiary devices. Only a few of them made it to our western shores, and they lit the woods on fire in Washington and Oregon. I think this is a weapon system, and China is testing it, and they just proved that they can bomb South Carolina for a few $100.
So far, I think you're right. Listen to what Mark Roon said. It's got to change at the Pentagon.
There's a ton of things to change about it, but number one, we're going to find out who made these bad decisions. We need warriors over there. Our military is supposed to, their job is to deter war, and when it happens, kill people and break things. Not train people on this woke stuff that is tying up our time. We got ships colliding in the sea, and a 3-star admiral made a report on it. It was because there wasn't time to train on what they really need to train on. Instead, they're out there worried about this woke stuff that's taught not only at the academies but throughout.
Right. I mean, it all plays into the fact that the president now has between 42 and 45% approval rating. It all plays into the fact that now the country, the number was over 50. 32% of the country want him to run for re-election again, and most Democrats don't want him to. That's how much have changed. And I think the Pentagon plays into that. This whole ESG, making sure you put anything with fossil fuels in it, make sure that we spend $6 trillion mostly on green technology. All this stuff people are getting fed up with. And I think the President of the United States was, I don't know, he felt good about. He also felt good about that abortion was on his side. He thinks most people are not pro-life in this country. And then I think he misinterpreted what the midterms election were. And the American people are souring on him big time. The president's performance, 45% according to the Washington Post. Fox News. October 22, honest and trustworthy, 42%. That number was at 52% in October of 2020, right before he was elected the first time. Of course, he wants to do it again. 6 in 10 Americans say they will be disappointed or even angry if he wins again. Wow. Ron, listening on KSLM in...
I want to thank again for about 5-6 years since you gave me the Triple Wars, a couple of copies, and I really appreciate it.
Okay.
I got you. The main point is this: it's costing me with this president in office. My fuel price in Oregon was $2.19 for diesel on a 20-mile-an-hour power stroke of 95, which is very good mileage, and I take good care of it. I've been sideswiped by these illegal aliens, hit and run. Off the chart. Millie, in my opinion, and Austin should be fired. If this was a Truman doctrine in effect, both those generals would be fired. From a Navy man who got out 33 years ago, and watched the year before, 34 years ago almost, in May of '89, Tiananmen Square via satellite, and we had on an LST the technology to detect things at high altitudes. And you telling me this bullshit? We could wait.
Gotcha.
And in search of Montana.
I agree with you on this. I am not impressed with General Milley. To begin with, he's already turned on the person that appointed him and allowed himself to be, according to him, shepherded out of Afghanistan, the biggest military disaster ever, kept his job, and now stopped the president from what he said to them, blowing up a balloon. So, General Milley's done. The guy should be just thrown out to pasture. He's a disaster.
Nice sag.
The best selling.
The simplest healthy habit to start this new year is one for your dog.